Hello, my name is Jana Hanke, and I work as a project manager for the company called Euroface Consulting. As many people around the world, I've been affected by the COVID pandemic, where all of a sudden we all had to start working from home. We weren't exactly ready for it, so it was a bit stress for all of us. So in this video, we're going to talk about teleworking, um, who is it good for, and how it works. So let's start with the history of teleworking. Flexible forms of work and employment were and are still being promoted, especially in connection with combining work and family life. There are a number of flexible forms of work, from reduced working hours, flexible working hours, unevenly distributed working hours, and working time accounts to home working, teleworking, and home office. Um, Working from home, or teleworking if you like, was historically the first flexible form of work. The old labor code from 1965 regulated it quite precisely because it was already common in our country at that time, like the textile industry or the glass industry and jewelry industry. And it was mainly used by women taking care of small children or their loved ones. Teleworking spread to Europe from the USA, and it's related to the expansion and mass use of information technology in the Czech Republic only after the year of 1990. So what really is teleworking? A simple definition of teleworking would be working at home. Remote work is a form of the organization of work in which the worker fulfills his work task at the precisely agreed time outside the traditional workplace, either at home or in another place suitable for the needy information and communication technologies. An employee performs work for a customer or employer who are somewhere else outside the office or building. Remote work is becoming more and more popular. It has contributed to the worldwide growing sale of personal computers, use of the internet, email, and video conferencing, making broadband technologies available, simplifying computer technologies, applications for remote access. The biggest increase in teleworking, but also in online school learning, occurred when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the whole world. Teleworking also can be a way to reduce the cost of the employers, as the goal of every company is to work as efficiently as possible. The best way may be to do a maximum possible reduction of cost related to the activity of a company. In case it's a business that depends on human capital, the solution is to try to minimize costs in this sector. The costs are related especially to creating a suitable workplace, taking care of basic needs of employees, such as catering, and it can also be about money spent on employees' transport. Efforts to eliminate these costs began several decades ago, but the technology was not yet satisfactory. In the last period, computing and communication technology experienced a huge increase, so employee can without relevant problems communicate with the employer remotely. Teleworking is, among other things, intended for companies and institutions that have high costs for travel and telephone connections between several remote workplaces or branches, individuals, companies, and institutions who work on several projects at once and have to travel frequently, or anyone who wants to get new customers from faraway places. Even though teleworking may sound great, it's not for everyone. The idea of teleworking sounds tempting, but it's necessary to be aware of the fact that its use is limited, so it's not for everyone. It's quite clear that, for example, workers in construction or healthcare will not be able to use this model because in their case, is it required to be physically present while performing their profession. However, there are quite few employments where the physical presence of the worker is not necessary for the company. These professions would be programmer, researcher, or telephone consultant. Teleworking can also be a big chance for disadvantaged persons. Teleworking is suitable for a wide range of people, as we said. It can be an opportunity for mothers on maternity leave, pensioners, students, but also for ordinary people. It's very often a chance to work for the disabled person. For this type of people, working from home is probably the best and sometimes even the only solution. In most cases, what they do is creative work, like writing articles, programming, graphics, and so on. In order to work from home, you should also have some internal setup. Not everyone can quickly get used to this type of work, but as they say, whoever wants to will find a way. Let's take a closer look at the forms of teleworking. We can divide teleworking in 4 forms. First one is occasional teleworking, which is work on an occasional business trip or on working holidays. The work can be done on the worker's computer or on a rented computer, for example, in a computer cafe. However, this form of work is insecure communication. The second option is permanent teleworking. And in this case, the employee only works at home. The work is consulted with the employer, for example, by email or video conference or a mobile phone. The employer goes to the company building exceptionally, only by prior agreement. Mostly, however, the employer drives to teleworker's home office, brings him a new task, discuss the current task, and checks the employee himself. Another form of teleworking is alternative teleworking, which represents a combination of office work in the company and regular work or occasional work at home. It depends a lot on the type of contract or the agreement with other teleworkers and or the total number of employees. And the last form of teleworking would be mobile teleworking, where a mobile teleworker works without one fixed workspace. The activity requires a significant amount of travel. So these people have a workplace wherever they are needed. They are, for example, salespeople or service engineers, but can also be managers who travel with a laptop and mobile phone. These workers can work anywhere in a hotel, in a car, on a plane, and so on. But they usually have at least some office equipment at home. Let's not forget about safety and health protection while teleworking. Um, Ensuring safety and health protection at work carried out in the form of teleworking in practice to a certain extent comes up against the issue of protection and inviolability of privacy. This is true, but teleworking is based on an agreement between the employer and the employee. And in this agreement, it is necessary to negotiate, including, for example, allowing the employer to access the apartment for checking that the workplace is structurally arranged and equipped, so that the working conditions for employees in terms of safety and health protection correspond to the work safety and hygiene functions in the work environment and workplace, established by generally binding health and safety regulations. However, employers in connection with teleworking do not have to worry too much about occupational accidents. Here too, the primary requirement is the employer's agreement with the employee that in case of an occupational accident, the employer will be allowed access to the workplace in order to properly investigate the causes and circumstances of the occupational accident. Nothing more really is then needed, and any work-related accident is investigated same way as if, for example, a work-related accident happens on a business trip abroad. Now we can look at the advantages of teleworking. There are many advantages of teleworking. The most basic and most popular advantage is probably that you can do your work from the comfort of your own home. This means that you don't have fixed working hours and you don't have to go to work regularly. Another great benefit that teleworking offers is flexibility. You can do the work at any time of the day, depending on how you schedule it. Only one thing is important: to meet the set deadlines. In the event of unexpected situations, for example, when your child falls ill, you do not need to arrange time off, but you can easily just move your work. Many people who work from home also think that they don't have as much stress as in a traditional job. like running for the bus again in the morning or getting upset in a traffic jam, just so you don't accidentally arrive 5 minutes late for a meeting or a conference. When you work remotely, no one controls when you start your work and when you finish. Above all, let the work be done on time. At the same time, you avoid conflict with colleagues. Um, Disadvantages of teleworking, however, may be the absence of social contact with colleagues, and that is considered as the biggest disadvantage of working remotely. Um, you do not come into daily contact with other people when working remotely. And there is also sometimes a lack of feedback or praise from superiors. Another disadvantage may or may not be the postponement of work tasks or the loss of work habits. Now we can talk about how to work from home effectively. The first thing you're going to need is time management. It's the most important thing to schedule your working hours correctly and stick to them. If you move a deadline from time to time, nothing bad happens, but it cannot become a rule. If you allocate your time incorrectly, you will not be able to keep up with your work and you will not be able to meet deadlines, which will definitely affect your earnings. Is it deal to establish, for example, a weekly work schedule to determine the exact times you will devote yourself to work and when you will adhere to it. Of course, you can adjust if necessary, but remember that you have to make up the missed time. The second important thing is your work environment. If you work at home, it's really important that you find your own corner. It should be a place where you will do your work and where no one and nothing will disturb you. According to experts, it should be somewhere outside the bedroom, quiet and especially comfortable place is ideal. Another thing is to remember to take breaks. Sometimes it happens that a person who works from morning to night uh, work, but basically does nothing. You might not have the right thoughts, your creative soul seems to be lost. Therefore, to prevent such a situation from occurring, take a break as soon as you see that your thoughts are elsewhere or you simply don't burn anymore. Go for a walk, make some tea, or read a magazine. Simply switch off your work for a while, and then when you come back to it, you will see that you are doing much better. Sometimes even a little exercise like yoga break or doing some stretching or having some fresh air going through your window might help you to concentrate better. What you should not forget as well is to reward yourself. When you don't have a direct supervisor to praise you for a job well done, at least treat yourself from time to time and reward yourself. Enjoy some little thing that will warm your soul and free you from other work. You should also not forget to move because working from home often means sitting at the computer for a long period of time, tapping away at a keyboard or mouse. And that's why it's important that you also do some kind of sport or at least go for a walk a few times a day. You will see that you will feel much better immediately. And you should also write down your thoughts and ideas because in most cases, creative people work from home. If your work is really creative, you should always have a small notebook and pencil with you so that you can just write down all the interesting thoughts and ideas. You never know when the right idea will come and you may lose it before you run to the computer. That's why my advice is write everything down. Now, thank you for your attention. And in case you're thinking about starting to work remotely, hopefully you will find some of these tips handy. And I would like to wish you good luck with anything you decide to do.